Hey nerds, welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to get a little serious and personal for this video. I really want to have a conversation about fat phobia and what it's like to be a mid-size or plus-size woman. But before we get into that, I just want to thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Now let's get into this. I guess I'll start explaining why I want to make this video in the first place. I think about the conversation of fat phobia and body dysmorphia almost every day, and I felt moved to talk about this because we are still, as a society, stuck at square one. You know, and whenever we do make progress, it's one step forward, 3 steps back. As of recently, there's been yet another uptick in hatred towards mid-size and plus-size women. You know, just saying mean things about their weight, giving them backhanded compliments. Things like, oh, you're so confident and you're so beautiful for a big girl, things like that. This hatred and fat phobia has triggered something people are calling the skinny girl apocalypse. I'm sure you've heard of it somewhere on social media. This is reminding me of a very problematic time in American history. Do y'all remember that time in the early 2000s where every woman in the media was obsessed with being as skinny as possible? It was a phenomenon and it affected a lot of the media at the time. And let me just say this, there's nothing wrong with being skinny and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be skinny. Let me just clear that up right now. Back to what I was saying, I'm sure you can remember a lot of your favorite movies making problematic jokes and picking on the fat person in the movie. Really awful jokes about body weight and eating disorders. And a very common phrase that was, you know, used in movies and television was, does this make my butt look big? Another example of the early 2000s skinny girl apocalypse is the movie Bring It On, All or Nothing. I have a point, I'm gonna get to it. In the movie, there's this character named Brianna and she's supposed to be the fat girl, right? Throughout the whole movie, the movie's antagonist, Winnie, talks about how big and fat she is. Winnie even said the size of Brianna's ass is a justification for bulimia. I really hope I don't have to explain why that is problematic. You can just kind of understand. And here's the thing, just look at Brianna. This girl is not even fat. She's not even fat. Look at her. She has thick thighs and a big booty. She's not fat. And even if she was fat, that wouldn't be a problem. But to that, I say this movie being a product of its time, that would have made the jokes even worse. All this to say, it is super alarming to see how normalized fat phobia was back then. And me personally, I think this type of mindset was fueled by the modeling industry. I'm sure there's research that stretches back in finding patriarchy as the problem, or, you know, certain cultural beauty standards as the problem. But me personally, I think that the modeling industry that mindset leaped from the modeling industry into the acting industry and all that stuff like that. So that's why we had that type of content in TV shows and movies. And I'm not saying fat phobia like this has completely gone away at any point. It's been around for a very long time. And it doesn't help that social media has made things a lot worse. And on the flip side of that, there's this, you know, message floating around that, you know, change starts with you. And that's speaking in a general sense of talking about anything you want to advocate for, right? If you want to see change, you gotta do something about it, right? And then when passionate advocators do come forth and they speak and they advocate, then they're attacked. I'm pretty sure there's a person coming to mind, and I'm gonna go ahead and mention her. This is Samira. I'm pretty sure some of you recognize her from TikTok. This woman has been loudly and proudly advocating for plus size clothing to be more accessible and more fashionable and more comfortable for plus size women. And I will just go ahead and say this, I love the work that Samira is doing. She's actually trying to gauge a reaction, and she gets a lot of haters, you know, on her content, saying very mean things, and I don't think it's right. Because if it were the other way around and people were advocating for super petite sizes for like, you know, very skinny people, like extra small, people will be like, oh my god, like it must be so hard for you to not find clothes that can fit you. That's what Samira's doing, but she's doing it for the bigger women, the bigger girlies, because yes, we need clothes that we can easily find, can afford, and that actually look good. But she's gotten so much hate, and for what? And people are just so rude to her and hurtful, saying things like, well, maybe you should lose weight, then you could find some clothes that fit you. And it breaks my heart that she even has to receive that kind of energy. Like, this woman is fighting for representation and inclusivity, something that we all need. But why is it a problem that she's doing it? Is because she herself is a plus size woman trying to advocate for other plus size women. And another thing that really grinds my gears is when people see a bigger person, they automatically think that they're unhealthy. In some cases, that is true, but that's not the situation for everyone. If someone carries a lot of weight, that can be related to other things. It could be a thyroid condition, it could be PCOS, it could be a hormone imbalance, it could be anything. Some people literally cannot help it. And I'm a big believer in this next statement: healthy, or what people consider to be healthy does not look the same on every single person. Because if that were true, everyone would look exactly the same. And then there's people who say, well, why don't you go to the gym? So just because someone is bigger means that they're not active in their day-to-day. How do you know they're not in the gym every other day or every day? You don't. Another thing that people always say is, well, why don't you lose weight? First, easier said than done. Second, what if someone actually likes the way they look? God forbid someone is actually comfortable in their own skin. It's so frustrating to see people have these very limited, closed mindsets and have the nerve to comment on someone else's physical appearance. So having said all of that, I want to talk about my personal experience being a mid-sized woman. For most of my life, I was skinny, very skinny. Take a look. That was me when I was a teenager. I had people tell me, oh, you should be a model because of the way that you're built. You're so skinny, you would be a great model, stuff like that. I am about to share some very personal information with you guys. Full transparency here, okay? When I was 17, I went on birth control because I had very painful and heavy periods. I was on the Depo-Provera shot, and I'm not on it anymore. I know that it's bad for you, and I was taken off of it a few years later, but I will get to that. And of course I did the research, and I knew that weight gain was a side effect of being on the shot. And me being 17 and, you know, thinking I was gonna stay the same size forever, I was thinking there was no problem because maybe a little weight will do me some good. So when I started taking the Depo-Provera shot, I weighed 125 pounds, 26. And 3 years later, I was weighing at 178. As I mentioned, I had to switch my birth control medication because, as we all know now, Depo-Provera is very dangerous. So I had two options. I could either go on the pill or I could get an IUD. So I chose the latter. I knew also doing research that the IUD was completely hormonal, right? And that was also going to mess with my weight. And I've been on birth control since before I started college, right? So imagine what I'm going through, especially during quarantine, because I graduated in 2020. And so imagine what I'm going through. Like, my body's out of control. I'm shut in for most of the time because we're still quarantining. And I stopped my regular exercises because I was an athlete in high school. We worked out literally every day. I played basketball, I ran track. So yeah, I was working out literally every day. And so my eating habits had to keep up with the fact that I was exerting so much energy. So when quarantine rolled around, I still had those same eating habits, but I wasn't working out as much. And then until one day I completely stopped working out. So having that diet and all that, you know, me consuming all that food without having the activity to burn it all off, you know, things happen. I put the weight on. And I was also on hormonal birth control, which causes you to gain weight. I think the most disappointing and disparaging part about this whole experience is that the most negative part of this experience of me, you know, going from skinny to not came from my own family. Now, when I would come back home and visit family, go to church or whatever, the first thing they would point out is, oh, you're growing some hips. And, you know, that wasn't too bad. But then they're like, oh, you know, you're getting bigger. I'm like, we're just saying that unprovoked. We're just saying that, like, you know, the first thing you see me, you don't even say hi. You just say, oh, you've gained weight. Thanks for pointing that out. Like, I know. And I was so used to being so skinny for so long, I didn't know how to handle me putting on this weight, you know, gaining weight in my thighs and my belly, and my breasts growing like twice the size. I didn't know how to handle it. I felt disgusting. And full transparency, my mom was the main one to comment on my weight. This is no hate or shade to my mother. I love her very much, but she's also very 100% transparent, so she'll tell you what she's thinking. You know, she would comment on my thighs, your thighs are getting a little big, oh, your belly's kind of poking out a little bit. And I was like, yeah. And there was a point in time where I did come to accept that, hey, this is the way that I look now, this is my body type now, and I love it. I'll get to that in a second. But she was like, you know, you should go to the gym and like tone your legs, because, you know, you don't want all that just to turn into straight fat, because that used to be muscle, it's just fat now. And she's like, take it from me, from experience, I know. And I feel like my mom was trying to be relatable, because she at one point was very skinny as well. And then she had 3 kids, and then she has conditions that caused her weight to go up and down, right? So I think she was trying to be helpful and give me advice, but it did feel judgmental on my part, and I'm sure she didn't mean it that way. And like I said before, I have come to accept the skin that I'm in. You know, it's not that I don't have healthy eating habits. I do. It's not that I don't work out. I do. This is just how my body is now, and that I'm developing into a full-grown woman. This is just what I am working with, and I have accepted that fully. And I love the skin that I'm in 9 times out of 10. I say 9 times out of 10 because there are days where I feel like I'm the most beautiful woman ever to exist, and I love myself. And then there's that one day where I feel like the biggest, nastiest, sloppiest creature that ever appeared on earth, and my self-saboteur really goes in on me. And I've had body issues for a very long time. So even when I was this size, there were days where I felt like a fat, sloppy mess. Imagine that. Like, that is body dysmorphia like no other. This girl right here thought she was fat. I'm like, oh girl, you ain't seen it yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. And then there are times still now where I feel like, oh, I'm so fat, I could be skinnier. And I'm like, you know what? No. Like, I feel now, me personally, that I feel and I look healthier with the extra weight on. And here's how I look at it. If my doctors are not telling me that my heart is in trouble or that my arteries are clogged, I'm good, I'm healthy, I'm fine. And now that I'm on the other side of things, now that I consider myself to be a mid-sized woman. I'll show you what I look like now. Here's what I look like now.
At the end of the game, you discover
and admire myself, because I think I know why she was saying the things that she said. This is such a basic outfit, but I feel like I'm the prettiest that I've ever been in a long time. Very basic, but I see why she was flirting with me.
Oh, I forgot to mention this. I've stated this briefly in other videos, but there was a brief time where I did develop an eating disorder. I was literally starving myself, only consuming 2 smoothies a day because I felt so fat. Clearly, I got help and I stopped doing that because I was so disgusted with myself. And I was like, you look fine. Like, you know, why starve yourself? Like, why do this? Why do this to yourself? Especially if your doctors are telling you that you're not in any danger of having any type of internal issues because of your weight. Like, why are you doing this? But that is no longer a thing in my life. I have moved past that. I am healthy. I'm fine now. Thank you for asking. But back to what I was saying. Now that I'm on the other side of things as a mid-sized woman, I realize how over-sexualized and fetishized mid-sized women and plus-size women are. Now, women were already overly sexualized in a general sense, right? But now I'm seeing what it's like for thicker women. I'm gonna tell you a story. This was not supposed to be a story time, but it is relevant to what I am talking about, so settle in if you haven't already. Last year, I was a part of this internship with a group of people my age. There were 2 black girls in the whole class, myself and another girl, right? And on top of that, I was the only girl there with a body type like mine. Everyone else was, you know, pretty skinny or petite or both. Let me put things into perspective for you. I just said I was the only other black girl in the class. There was one other black girl and then there was one black guy, okay? The remainder of the interns, who were majority, they were white, they went to PWIs. Hell, I just graduated from a PWI. And I only know this because we all said what school we were going to or graduated from on orientation day, right? And I can guarantee that these guys that were in this intern class, they are used to one type of body type and one type of beauty standards going to these PWIs. Skinny and blonde, maybe sometimes brunette. Then there was one guy who found himself staring at me, more specifically my body. Now I always say this, I cannot help what I got. I cannot detach my breasts and put on a smaller size. I can't take pieces of my thighs off to make them smaller. Can't. I got what I got. Can't hide it. It's hard to hide. It might have been hatred. It might have been disgust. It may have been a little bit of a fetishy situation. Hell, it could have been all 3. But it was super obvious that he had never seen a woman like me with my specific body type in real life before. I felt sexualized, but not in the way you think. I felt like a zoo animal in an enclosure. That's what I felt like. Hell, I've even been slut shamed because of my body type. Like I said, I can't hide it. I cannot hide what I have. I had one person tell me that I am so obsessed with my own boobs and that's why I show them off, you know, all the time. I'm a big-breasted girly. Some stuff just fits the way that it fits. I'm not purposely showing off my breasts. I just have big ones, okay? It's literally genetic. All the women on my mother's side, big titties. I'm sorry. Even when I was skinnier, I had really big boobs for my body type. And then I would also, going back to the internship, I would get stares. Not just from the guys, but from the girls too, but I feel like the girls were disgusted. They had, I think, they had that mindset of, oh, she's just showing off her body. Like, you know, like, why does she have to show off her body like that? I could wear a potato sack and you could still see the outline of my figure. I cannot help that. It was just like being on 2 different sides of the spectrum at the same time. On one end, I'm getting stares, maybe in a fetishy type of way, that I'm getting other stares that are like hateful and slut shaming, and I'm just like, like, y'all got me. It's like, damn, I can't even wear jeans without y'all having something to say. But that's what it's been like for me thus far as a mid-sized woman. Now, it's not all bad. I am lucky enough to have a partner who finds my beauty just overpower all physical attributes. He thinks that I am beautiful no matter what. And I'm so grateful to have him in my life, and he even makes it a point to appreciate my curves and my dips and like my belly, and he really likes my legs. He loves the thighs. So that is a contributing factor to like my confidence that I have now. I know that if I were to even get heavier, if I were to lose the weight, he would still love me no matter what. So that helps. I have always been and will always be body positive. I'm very adamant and eager to consume media with representation, you know, with women who look like me, not only black women, but black women who are on the thicker side, especially on social media. I love seeing women who look like me and who have the same body type as me just live authentically and love themselves, because it motivates me, it inspires me. I think it's so beautiful. As we all know, social media can distort a lot of things, and it's good to know that there's positive imagery out there of bigger women. I believe and I know that there is room for all of us at the table. Skinny girls, big girls, and everybody in between. Like, there's room for us all. And like I said, I really have come to terms with my new womanly body and, you know, how I look. And I like to think of it as, if this is how my creator meant for me to look, then this is how I look. And something else that really comforts me, it's a small thing. It's comforting to know that in some of the most prestigious and famous museums in all of the world, there are statues of women who look like me or bigger than me. In Grecian culture, my body type is worshipped. I always try to remember that when I'm having a bad day and I don't feel my best, I feel like I don't look as beautiful. I always try to remember that. Being someone who is mid-size and being someone who has body image issues, I can try to understand, you know, what other people are going through. And me personally, I'm not going to fall for the skinny girl apocalypse propaganda. I'm not doing it. You're not gonna get me. In my personal opinion, life is too short to be counting calories and obsessing over how small your waist is or how flat your tummy is. I'm gonna be happy and eat what I want when I want it. But having said all that, I want to leave you with this. You, my friend, are beautiful and you are loved no matter what size you are. Do not let anyone try to force you into a box, and don't let anyone force you into their standards of beautiful or perfect. So that concludes our video for today. I know this was a very, very serious topic, but I wanted to get it off my chest. I really wanted to share my own thoughts and kind of talk through what I feel. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like. And if you made it to the end of the video, comment a pink heart and subscribe if you want to. I'll see y'all on the next go around. Okay, bye.